The Supreme Court just rejected a new death penalty case, and as a result of that, an innocent man might die. So thanks again, Supreme Court. Stay classy. So the guy's name is Henry Surechi, and Justice Stephen Breyer fought for him, but he ultimately lost. So Huffington Post explains here about Henry. They say, Henry Surechi has been awaiting execution since 1976, when he was convicted of the murder of a used car salesman. In their Supreme Court petition, his lawyers argued that Florida's refusal to grant Surechi a new trial based on newly discovered DNA evidence that may exonerate him violated his constitutional right to due process of law. Oh. So stop and think about that. The dude's been on death row since 1976. There's an argument that spending 40 years on death row in and of itself is, quote, cruel and unusual punishment, which is banned under the 8th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. But beyond that, they're saying right here, he was refused a new trial even though he may be not guilty based on newly discovered DNA evidence that may exonerate him. They have new DNA evidence that may exonerate him, and the court's like, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to pass on that. You need to die. This story right here, this is the argument. This is the perfect, quintessential, the epitome of the correct argument as to why you can't have the death penalty. Because you're going to run into idiots who hear that there's new DNA evidence that may exonerate a guy, and they go, no thanks. Die. This is somebody's life you're talking about here. You might kill a guy, and there's new evidence that says he didn't do it. And you're not even willing to hear him out in court with the new evidence. So this is why you can't have it, because what if that DNA evidence does exonerate him? And then what if you put him to death anyway? Well, then that means that you're the murderer. Plain and simple. That means the death penalty system just killed an innocent man. So the death penalty system just murdered somebody. And last time I checked, by their logic, if you murder somebody, you should get the death penalty. So then the death penalty system would get the death penalty. That's the paradox of the death penalty that you can't escape. If you get even one innocent person, you don't get a mulligan, bitch. You just killed an innocent person. That's murder. So you have to change the system to accommodate for that. Now, we also discussed a story yesterday about in Alabama on Thursday. They killed a guy and they did the new lethal injection, the new drug cocktail. Well, what happened with the new drug cocktail? The first drug doesn't work as well as the first drug worked in the old drug cocktail because a company in Europe made it and they stopped selling it because they don't want to kill anybody anymore. So the guy, they say, he may have felt like he got burned alive because they give him the sedative didn't work that well. Then they give him the paralytic, so he's paralyzed, but he still feels everything, but he's paralyzed. Then they give him the drug that kills him. So he could be in excruciating pain, and you wouldn't know because he's paralyzed. Oh no. That's like the worst case scenario. That's like everybody's nightmare. Like, oh, I can't move and express to you that I'm in excruciating pain, but I'm in excruciating pain. With this drug cocktail, there have been stories of people foaming at the mouth. They gave somebody this drug cocktail, and then they called off the execution minutes after they did it. What? They say, yeah, no, he was reeling. He's sitting there. He was sitting there like that, and they're like, I guess we'll call it off. And then eventually, like 20 minutes later, he died. But that was 20 minutes of excruciating pain because the drug cocktail doesn't work. And the fucking Supreme Court still won't intervene and say, hey, maybe this is cruel and unusual. If that's not cruel and unusual, then literally nothing is cruel and unusual because you're torturing somebody before you kill them. The idea that anybody would say, I don't think that's cruel. Well, then you're an idiot because what would be cruel? You're torturing somebody before you kill them. I don't know. If that's not cruel, there's nothing that's cruel. I mean, because what could be worse than that? That's as bad as it gets. But the Supreme Court is still sitting, and is, again, majority conservative court, and this is what you get. So at least Stephen Breyer's fighting for him, but that's not enough. Stephen Breyer said for the longest time, like, look, why are we being stupid? Yes, it is cruel and unusual to fucking kill people. It's unusual by definition because we are one of the only modern nations that still kills people. We are in the minority in the world. Most countries in the world don't have the death penalty anymore. So that's unusual, and it's cruel because, yeah, you're killing somebody. So this is sick, man. You have new evidence that might show this guy's innocent. They're not even going to give him a new trial. They're just going to kill him. That's why you can't have the death penalty, because human beings are fallible, and we don't always get it right, and this is the result.